Are you introducing me or am I?
This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Network Studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, Deep End 757 Broadcasting. Actually, we dropped the 757. It is just Deep End Broadcasting. Here's your host of Sizzling, Karen Dougherty.
Hey, y'all.
Dougherty. I always want to say Dougherty. I know
it
Dougherty.
Doesn't matter. It can be Dougherty because I'm from New Jersey.
I feel like that's the northern version,
yeah.
And Dougherty's the southern.
Yeah, and my son grew up here, and he says Daughtry. He says, so it's all correct. I'll answer to any of it. Just don't call me late for dinner. Is that how that saying goes?
And you can find all of Karen's stuff on Fit to Be Trained across your social medias.
Thanks, Steve.
There you go.
You're a gem. How are you today?
Doing well.
Good.
Excited for our guest, our gym buddy.
I'm super excited for our guest. Really, really excited. And again, it's kind of ironic how often our friends and folks and guests that are coming on are somehow tied to CrossFit. Because my friend here, Jamie Rhodes, I met her at CrossFit probably 10,
I would say 10 or so years ago.
10 years ago when it was Valiant CrossFit here in Virginia Beach. And I've met, and I want people to know, like, I'm not a CrossFit trainer by any means. That's where I like to go to work out. And it's a fantastic community. And I've made so many friends through that community. So it's funny how even here on my podcast, it kind of always has a CrossFit back theme. It's kind of cool. So I met Jamie at CrossFit, and then we kind of got into, Jamie has a lot to bring to the table here. So I'm kind of not going to do a lot of the talking. I met her at CrossFit and we did some work together volunteering. We'll get into that later. But what I really wanted to start with was Jamie's pretty active, should we say, in local fitness and marathoning. And you even work for J&A Racing, which I pass you guys all the time when I'm getting on the Lesnar Bridge. Yes. It's a cool local establishment with cool signs.
Yeah,
I like your signs. You have
There's
great
always
signs.
a fun thing out there.
It's great. And so that's what
I thought that was like a NASCAR team at first when I first saw it way back many years ago.
I know, J&A Racing. It does. It's great. It's
not the only one.
Smile. I know. So I'm going to back off here and I'm going to let Jamie have the floor. But what I want to start with is, Jamie, when did you first get into fitness and athletics?
Well, I guess, when I was sort of looking over at your bullet points, I guess I sort of have been active all my whole life. But my family's Midwestern and it was the 1970s. So there weren't as many, organized activities. So it was a lot of playing outside, a lot of just my family did activities for fun. Like they water skied for fun in the summer. They snowmobiled for fun in the winter. They cross country skied. They, my mom was sort of she's a huge, influence obviously on anybody, their mother usually, but my mom, she would have us ride our bikes places instead of drive, we were a very active family. So I would say that kind of, was established from right away. But then I started.
Can I interject for just a moment? Where in the Midwest did you live?
My family's from Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. Turn that woohoo on, Steve. Yeah. Wake up. Minnesota is one of my favorite
states. We're going to do the woohoo.
In the United States of America. I spent 17 years in Minnesota.
And we've did a lot on that over the years too.
Very active place. And I happen to know your mother and very fond of her. And at the Midwest, I only lived in Minnesota, so I can only speak from there. I'm originally from New Jersey. And I loved that place. And she's right. It's so active, and people think because it's so cold, that you're not going to get out and about. It's actually the complete opposite. There's so many activities to do in the Midwest outdoors, but I had to interject that.
You can actually do winter sports there, that you really can't do here. It's not nice to go outside here because it's 40 degrees and raining, but at least there's snow, and you can do things on the ice and on the snow. So it's still active year round up there.
It is. It's fantastic. I love it. I just love it. And so what inspired you to start running?
So and I played sports growing up. I did a little bit, like I said, Midwest Minnesota. It wasn't like today's amped up travel sports and all this, but I did like the rec basketball and things like that. But then in high school, my family had moved down to North Carolina, which is kind of where I consider my home now. Really, I kind of grew up there, my formidable years, I suppose, but got more into sports in high school and junior high when you could try out for teams. And I just did that. I didn't have any experience like kids do these days, but I tried out for things, and I did track there, ran the mile, because I could, and did the long jump and the triple jump, and even I think the high jump too. So did track and field there, and then played soccer in high school. And I found dance. I found dancing, took dance classes when I was a kid, did that for years and loved that. And then I was a cheerleader in high school. And
wow.
And then I continued that. I was a cheerleader at Appalachian State University, where I went to college. So was involved in sports and athletics all through school and into college. And then it's funny, one time, the first time I ever ran on purpose was, not for a soccer game or whatever. I ran for a soccer game, obviously, but I didn't jog, other than maybe doing that mile when I was a kid. But there was a fundraiser that we were doing at college, for cheerleading. We were participating in like the juvenile diabetes, walkathon or something like that. And we had partners, and my partner, he said, I'm going to run. I'm like, I'll run. And I think we ran like 4 miles that day. We were going to walk 16 as we ran them. So I ran 4 miles, I think, the first time I ever ran. So anyway, that was probably the first time running. And then I really kind of got interested in running when I was in my 20s and didn't have, organized athletic practices and things like that. I went up to the local fitness store, which is hilarious that it now comes full circle, because this was a long time ago. But before J&A Racing existed, there was a couple of endurance, stores right here in the northern part of Virginia Beach, in Great Neck area. And one of them, that was called Inside Out Sports, and then it was called Final Kick, but it was the same. It was the same owners. It was Jerry and Amy Frostick, who now are the J&A of J&A Racing, but they had run groups there. And I was just looking for, something to do, so a way to meet people and a way to be active. And so I went there for the run meetups they had on Saturday mornings. And, they were super friendly and community oriented, like they still are today. And I work for them now. So this actually is a plug, but,
absolutely. I want you to, I want to learn about all this,
but that's how they welcomed me into the community, and they still, operate that way. So I met up some people, and honestly, they liked at that time, that's what they were doing, and they were pairing people up. And so they said, oh, you find people to kind of run with, and everybody left at the same time, and you would find some people that were your pace and just start training for runs. And I must have signed up. I don't know if I ever ran any shorter distances, but I think the first thing I ever, signed up for was a marathon. I don't know.
All right. So you listeners and viewers out there, just so you know, Jamie's the kind of person that's super nice, smile. She's so nice and so cool. And then she'll just straight up whoop your butt in the workout. To be honest, is one of the better athletes in the gym. Back to like your old sports stuff, Jamie, like your organized sports. were you always one of the, and don't be humble, were you always one of the better players like on your
Right.
sports teams?
I mean, like I said, Steve, this was not today's youth sports. This was like, no parents were pushing you to do it. No, there were no
Right.
like extra coaches
Well,
that you got on the side.
I was in
And
those sports, and you were either good or not. So say
I mean,
it.
I was
You were
athletic.
good.
I was athletic for sure. So in soccer, that's the sport I played in high school. I was very good at dancing and cheerleading too. Like I really was. Like that was kind of where I was good at that. And I think it was partly because I was athletic. I mean, I knew how to. I just naturally.
Right. And cheerleading now is so gymnastic and a
Yeah,
lot
and it
more
was for us
athletic.
then
I
too.
love that.
We were kind of unusual at the time. Like the team that I was on, we had a coach that was inspired to do it better. Like she wanted it to be.
Right.
We competed, back when that was brand new. We actually competed, and she went on to coach. I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She ended up. She coached the high school team there for quite a while at my high school, and then she ended up the coach of Wake Forest too. And she was
Wow.
just actually inducted into the high school, my high school
wow.
athletic hall of fame. Yeah, they put her in there.
Because
so she
like
was
you said, that was kind of when everything started, like the competition started in cheerleading.
Right. And it was, and
yeah.
there were no private gyms for that either. You tried out for your high school team if you made it. And then
Right.
you had a coach that was inspired to make you, more athletic, do it like a sport, then you did it. But otherwise you might have.
Did you ever have a defining moment to where you said to yourself, wow, I'm pretty good at this stuff, whether it be like the cheerleader or even CrossFit or something like that? Where you're like, hey, you know what? I'm actually, I got a really good score here, or, maybe I'm overachieving, but I'm pretty good at this. Did you ever have that defining moment, or did this just all kind of just come naturally? No big deal.
I think, I don't know. I mean,
I think
it makes me uncomfortable a little bit, but I guess I didn't seek out that or whatever.
Right.
I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Don't.
I didn't seek that out. Like I wasn't ever trying to be good at, I mean, I don't know. I just was, it's funny because I'm like, it's kind of a contradiction, but I'm super spontaneous. Like I have almost always say yes. Like, oh, you want to try out for soccer? Yes. My friends are doing dance class. You want to do that? Sure. Actually the reason I started doing CrossFit was I went to a fundraiser with a friend and Jim White Fitness. He's one of my friends and somebody that's inspired me over the years, but he had like a package on the auction table and my friend bid on it, and she won the bid. It was a silent auction, so she donated money to whatever to get some personal training sessions over there. And she was like, "Do it with me, join me." And we made it a group session. Then I was like, "Sure," I went, "Okay, sure, I'll do it." So we went, and the trainer that we had there, one of the women who worked at Jim White Fitness was our trainer, and she was CrossFit certified. And so we were working out at Jim White Fitness studio, but she was putting us in through CrossFit workouts. Right. And that's when I learned to do all the movement patterns. And I didn't know I was doing CrossFit, and she might've mentioned it or something like that, but I really didn't know what it was. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She might've mentioned that she was CrossFit certified, but I didn't really know what it was either at the time. Right. And that was really I thought running, and I love running. I still do it. I thought running was fitness, and a lot of people do, people, you've had that happen. You're like, oh, you must run a lot or something like that. I think that's why I did. Like I said, the first thing I ever signed up for on a race was a marathon, but there's reasons for that too. Other distances didn't really exist. I mean, the industry wasn't what it is now. Back in the day, there weren't as many options. So, marathoning or whatever started with that, but I never really lifted weights other than what was required of me at cheerleading practice. We did some.
Right. I wanted to ask that. Yeah, because you excel so well at Olympic weight training, which is CrossFit with the Olympic bar,
Yeah, but that's where I learned to do it. Just kind of because I said, sure, I'm up for it. Like I'm always up for anything. Like I'll try it. And so I went to these training sessions with my friend just to support her, and why not, and yeah, that's where I learned to do all those movement patterns. And that woman who trained us, she still coaches CrossFit. She moved down to Texas now, but she she was putting us through those workouts, and that's when I learned to do it. And then after that, y'all, is when the Valiant CrossFit opened. And
oh, wow.
I was like, I think
Cool.
I know how to do these things. And so I went there, and like,
oh, wow.
Steve, for your question, like, I didn't know, I never did a double under in my life until I did a double under.
How long did it take you?
Once.
Oh my God. Okay. So I want to say something too on this subject back where I felt for Jamie, because I could tell she felt uncomfortable and I didn't get a chance to interject. Jamie is very, very humble, for real. And I'm kind of not. And I am not even nearly the athlete that Jamie is. And I'm proud of myself for it. And I worked really hard for it and I earned it. And I'm not even that good. And
see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
me.
I never sought out to be really good. Like, I literally did a double. I was like, oh, we do double unders. Okay, double, I'll do it. You know, like, boop, boop, okay. And I can do it.
And I love that about you. And you're just so, and I know your mother and she is too. And I joke, like, maybe it is because you're from Minnesota, but it's not
party stock.
That. And it's just, I don't know. I don't even, I'm speechless, but I want to really say that it's something that I really admire about you is how humble you really truly are. It's not even like you're like, oh shucks. You really are like, oh, like and I love that about you. It's an innocence that's almost pretty wonderful when it comes to athletics, because you are amazing athlete. I know that if you really put your head on it, you could probably go to the games. I mean, you're just one of them girls, but I won't say on that too much because I know you are humble. What I wanted to talk about was not only are you humble, you're an incredibly giving person. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, that I'm so grateful that I get to even be friends with you, even athletically or in the community or whatever, because you are such a giver. And I met you at CrossFit, but we got to work together with the Lift Foundation.
Yeah.
And doing workouts at the Salvation Army. And I'm so grateful for you leading me to that, because I'm in recovery myself. And some of the work y'all were doing was in recovery centers. And I have to touch on that because you know me, that really is important to me. And what was your experience with working with Lift, and how did you grow from that?
Yeah. So once I trained at Jim White Fitness, I ended up becoming that inspired me. I realized that I loved lifting weights and fitness. And that's really, just by bidding on those workout sessions, training sessions, that's how I discovered that I liked it and I was pretty good at it. And I wanted to inspire, it's my favorite thing to do is move. So then I decided I was going to become a trainer. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. And so that was a good, opportunity for a job that was flexible. And so Jim had some classes and I took that and became a certified personal trainer. And then I was working there. And over time, Jim White started a foundation. It's probably been close to 15 years ago now. He was inspired by individuals down at the oceanfront. He was like coaching boot camps. That was popular back then. And there were individuals that were like coming up to his boot camps and wanting to come in and participate. And he just felt inspired, rather than to say, you can't do this. He wanted to provide something because he knew kind of what fitness and wellness could do for people and what being part of the community could do for people, and just how movement could improve their life in so many ways, give them self-esteem, make them a sense of belonging, all these things. So he began providing, fitness classes down at the oceanfront, initially partnering with Penn Ministries. They were the first partner, I think, to make it known to people that it was available, and then promote it and get people to come out and take the classes. And so it grew from there and started doing the program at different places. So Jim was looking for someone to do that. And I started out just volunteering to coach classes for the Lift program. And then my loved it. Obviously, I thought it was just a beautiful thing. And then my role there grew, and I went and I became the program director, where I was, engaging us with all the different partners and getting the classes set up and helping them recruit people to come to the classes, and then getting coaches and people and volunteers to do that. And then I ended up becoming the executive director of that too. Of that program eventually over time, and then when I was in the process of being the program director or whatever, that's when I was like, Karen, you'd be awesome, because I knew your history and I knew that you were recovery. And one of the places that we did the program, we did it in a number of, they still operate. I mean, they still do it. I've moved on, but but Lyft is still out there. And I actually coached a class recently, but they partner with other agencies too, like Boys and Girls Club, for kids, women's shelters, but Lyft, but Salvation Army was one of the first and most consistent places that they partnered with. And it's just real suitable to the program, because the people there live there. And so they're kind of, it's a captive audience. And so they tend to attend regularly, get the most benefit out of it because of that. So Karen, came in and taught. So we tried to provide a variety of different exercise modalities. I've taught dance fitness to them. They've done
greatest times in there, huh?
Yeah, I think I brought PVC. I think I brought PVC pipes one time, and we did CrossFit type movement patterns.
So appreciate you asking me to do those classes. It was such a great experience. That you did CrossFit with them. I did Pilates with them, and they were so good. They listened so well. It was just it was just so moving. I even somebody took video too. I lucked out. I have pictures of that night.
Yeah,
and that was such a great experience.
It's really good. I think that the individuals who are in either a homeless shelter or in the recovery center, like they really appreciate people taking time to give them quality instruction. I think it really provides it gives people a lot of dignity and helps them to restore that. And
I appreciate you knowing that. Yes, it is true with people in recovery, because as a person that dealt with that, the self-loathing is pretty difficult when you're battling addiction. And so to have people come and care and really care and treat you like anyone else gives them their dignity. And that's exactly what you and Lyft program do. Yeah. And that's why I was so honored to be a part of that, because I get emotional, and I appreciate it so much to see my brothers and sisters of addiction trying to get clean, get sober, and have people care about them. It just moves me greatly. I always want to be a part of that.
I think that's the Lyft is like movement was just the exercise, and nutrition education was just the platform, but really it was about spending time with people and giving them your time. And that's what I think they got the most out of it.
I think they did get a lot out of the fitness part too, though. You know it, because what that does for us is the endorphins, which it does for anyone. Well, I don't know why I say us, like we're different. Endorphins, it's science. Anytime you're working out, it's science. The blood flow that goes to the brain, happy feelings. There's just so much to it that's so beneficial. So it's so important to me to get anybody moving. My goal is to get anyone moving. Yeah. But to get other people that are in recovery moving, or I really like getting people when they're coming out of treatment, and they're like, what's next? And I'm like, hey, this is next. Why not get in the best shape of your life, or learn how to eat and just start a whole new path and see what life can bring to you in a healthy, self-caring state of mind. It's cool. It's just so cool. I love this job. And so I love it. Like I say, this job, I don't get to work in treatment centers or anything like that full time, but I do get to do it as a volunteer, stuff like that. And I really, really enjoy it. Your future goals, what's next for you? I know that you're running a lot lately. I noticed that because I hear you over talking in the gym and stuff like that. You have been doing a lot of running again. What's going on? Is it Yeah.
Well,
like,
in my job at J&A Racing, so I'm the director of partnerships, and so I work with our sponsors and to get their companies involved, and then it's inspiring to be around it. Quite honestly, like to see all these people out there setting goals and accomplishing them. I mean, it's emotional to see people cross the finish line. Knowing. I mean, even it's just we celebrate the last finisher, even the one who the very last person. We try to
that would be me.
They put out a radio call. You surprise, Karen. No, you wouldn't. But they put out a radio call even to get people come out, and we cheer in the last finisher. But the ones who, I mean, just some people just do it and they set their goals, and when I see them accomplish it, I remember what that feels like, and it is just it's inspiring. So, and then I'm just around it all the time. I'm going to go to the run clubs and meet people and do my job, and so I might as well, running, it's you got keeping it up is easier than coming and going, that's for sure. And so just to kind of keep a constant, keep up with that fitness level and making sure that my legs can handle that allows me to enjoy the opportunities that I get to go out and do the runs. But we don't get to race here. We don't get to, participate in the races here at home because my J&A owns, so many of them. We work hard on those race weekends, so we don't get to participate ourselves, but it's fun also to go out and see other races around the country that are, maybe similar in size or something that is unique about them, or they're really well loved, or they're bigger than our, it's fun to go out and see what's going on. And we like to do that as a company too, because we can go and promote, J&A races. So I've been trying to do a race once a year. And some, I did the Broad Street run last year, which is 10 miler starts. It's a point to point, 10 miles north of Philly. And you run through Temple and into the city. Yeah, that was cool. And then this year I did the Cooper River Bridge run in South Carolina, which is a 10K, but it's, so the distance, is not super hard for anybody to attain, but it's a mile, it's a bridge. I mean, like you get to go over this bridge and it's a mile straight up and then a mile and a half down. So it's a challenging.
I didn't realize it was.
And it's 31,000 people that did it that day. So it's massive.
God, my heart. I could almost cry. Like,
it's
my
like
goodness.
A suspension bridge down in South Carolina. That was cool. And it was good to go and see, how they do things, what it looks like, and just to kind of gain industry knowledge too. So I've been doing that, and that's kept me out running. I thought I was going to do something different that I've never done before, because I think one of the challenges of aging in athletics is never never hitting those PRs that you had before, whether it's weight training or whether it's running. I just can't hit those numbers like I used to, the speed or the weights and stuff. But so I thought, well, maybe I should do something totally different. But then I'm a girl who says yes. So then my friend,
you want to start line dancing? I want to do line dancing so bad. That's going to be my new thing when I have some time.
It's hard. I'm just saying.
Well, I want it for my brain too.
I said, I want to do a half marathon trail though. So I don't have to, so I've never done a half marathon. So I won't have anything to compare it to. I think that would be good for me to enjoy it more. Well, but then my girlfriend's like, well, we should do the Cooper River Bridge run on your birthday. And I went, okay. I mean, so I'm always like, okay, I'll do anything. So then that's what I did. So I'm trying to pick a different goal for next year.
Can you tell me a little bit about J&A Racing? I'm embarrassed to say how much I really don't know. I know that they're in charge of the race, all of the races around town. Like,
not all of them, but a lot. Right? I think a lot of the ones that probably most of the ones that you may have heard or been familiar with. But they started with Shamrock. So back, I already mentioned they had a store for endurance sports. Right. They sold running shoes and bikes and stuff like that. And so the Shamrock, they had these community groups, including yours truly, way back this was 25 years ago. And so people went there and ran, and they had this deep connection to the running community and the endurance community. Well, the Shamrock Marathon is actually 53 years. It's like the longest contiguous race in Virginia, but
Wow,
53 years old.
Time.
And so this was 23 years ago. The original owners and founders of Shamrock Marathon were ready to move on after 30 years. I mean, wouldn't you be? So they approached, I mean, knowing how invested the Frostics were in the community, the running community, they approached them to purchase it. You know, they were helping people do Ironmans and, you know, marathons like I was, and Shamrock Marathon was the one that they helped the most people with, because it was right here. And they love Virginia Beach. They love where they live. And so they thought, yeah, sure, we'll do it. How hard could it be, you know, to operate a marathon? Not realizing that, A, it's super hard, and then that it could lead to an entire change, you know, in their career trajectory.
Right.
And so they grew it and grew it. The industry grew as well. Like, you know, again, distances became more popular. The half marathon was sort of invented, which made it a lot more accessible to people.
Right. Absolutely.
So like the industry grew, and they grew the race. They grew it by grassroots. They grew it by going around, you know, up and down the East Coast and just promoting Shamrock, and that Virginia Beach was a great place to come in March. The hotel rooms were cheaper, and, you know, lots of reasons to come down, and it just grew. And so it started when they bought it, it was 3,000 participants. And this year, with the one we just had a couple of months ago, it was 23,000 participants.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So it's cool. And then that brings, you know,
talk about getting people moving.
Yeah. And it's, you know, I'm wearing the hat, and I kind of did it. I don't know. But anyway, it's a community that, like, that race in particular, of all the ones that we have, that one just, you know, brings out the entire community. It's so deeply, you know, ingrained in our community that the school system is involved. We got an art contest where a child designs the shirt artwork for the kids mile. There's 4,700 elementary school students that run the final mile.
My son was in every year. I loved going down there with him, you know, every year. Oh,
and that started, you know, that started 15 years ago when childhood obesity began to be. Oh,
wow.
You know, you heard that for the first time, and the Frostics Amy thought, I got to do something about this. And so she created this program where the kids would train at their school 25 miles over when they come back from the break, and they come back and they work at school. Maybe they do it in PE class, or maybe there's a teacher that hosts a run club before or after school, and they track these little tracker, and they do 25 miles, and then they come and do the final mile to complete a marathon at Shamrock. So the course is the same finish line that the other races finish on, and they get to run down the boardwalk with people cheering and all of that. So it started like that, and it's now 4,700 elementary school kids.
I love it, because Ian really did, you know, like, he would really try on that mile, you know, like, that was fun, because, like you said, they were prepared for it, and they would run after school. And, you know, me being his mom, I wanted him running, and he was good at it.
And, you know, it's like, and that's all about movement. It's just getting kids moving.
Yeah. And then they learn to like stuff, you know, or not, you know, basketball. He was good at it, but he was like, God, they're awfully serious here at Rec. I just want to play. It's kind of cute. Thank you for talking about JNA. That's a great local history here. You know, that's part of the reason why I was so excited to talk to you, because I'd get to learn this kind of stuff. How advice for beginners to get them involved in, you know, starting with a 5K? Is that, you know, you recommend? I have clients right now that I have one in particular that's really, really taken a shine to running, and I started with a 5K. 8K. She did an 8K at Thanksgiving. And any advice for her and everybody out there? Like, just keep doing that. Just keep building.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's a great sport to start. I mean, you don't have to. It doesn't require a lot of commitment, equipment. You can just go out and do it. And the 5K distance is super accessible to even first timers. I mean, there's J&A we have a lot of 5Ks. We have 9 events total throughout the year. And most of them have multiple distances. Like you can do.
Do I tell her to check into a club? Is there running clubs and stuff?
Oh my gosh, there's so many run clubs. But you could start, if you could set your goals on a 5K or just go out to one of the run clubs. There's a run club every day of the week, multiple times of day. It's such a popular activity right now. And I think it's grown so much in terms of like young people too, doing it for social reasons. I honestly think it's I think it's like where people meet. I think that you can meet.
Yeah.
If you're looking to meet somebody, you can actually do it at a run club. But yeah, there's a lot of run clubs in Virginia Beach and in all of our communities here in the Hampton Roads, and it's popular across the country too. But
that's really cool. Really, really cool. Let me see here. We kind of covered everything. Sorry for the y'all. I'm really just kind of going over my notes and going, is there anything? Thanks for laughing at that. Is there anything that I missed? I just don't want to miss anything with this girl because
I got a question, Jamie. I mean, you're a highly motivated, highly successful athlete. We all know that. You are humble. But when you have your days of non-motivation, what do you tell yourself to motivate yourself?
Good question. I like it.
Kind of get yourself off the couch a little bit, or
I
obviously someone like you, I feel like the lifestyle of health and wellness comes naturally. But in your times of motivation, what do you say to yourself to motivate yourself?
Yeah. You know what I think, and you've heard this before. I mean, motivation is waning. Motivation comes and goes.
Right.
And so discipline. I mean, these are not. This isn't anything profound. Like this is
right.
What you heard before. But I think that having people that hold you accountable, that's a great reason why. I have the knowledge myself. I mean, I've got CrossFit level 1 certification. I'm a certified personal trainer. I have this certification, but I still go to a gym. Just like Karen said, she still goes to a gym. Like,
that's where we met.
Right.
I would.
Not, so I know how to do it, but I need to go somewhere so that I have a class time that I show up a few minutes
and then
late.
It's for you. Yeah. A few minutes late. Remember when we had to do burpees? God, I had the best arms back then.
But I know that there's people there, and the community is so important. Yeah. So finding and going and meeting people and joining a small group training or a gym that has class times, I think that is huge to your success and your ability to keep doing it day in and day out. And people will be like, where are you? And I think that there's a difference. If there's a difference between just going to the gym and doing your own workout, maybe you might at one of the gyms where maybe you don't take a class, you just go in and you're going to do a workout. That's great for some people, but I think that the majority of us need community to stick with it. And so I think you can't rely on motivation, because obviously that does not sustain you. I mean, it just does. It's just not there every day. But I think discipline, putting it on your calendar, getting it in community and doing it with friends. I mean, that's if you make an appointment to meet somebody, you're going to go do
and it makes it fun, like yeah. I always have a good time at the gym, even when the workout is horrible. Sometimes you're like, God, really? But you're with your friends and you can make choices, you can modify or whatever.
It is. And I mean, you've heard this before too. Do it. Get it on your schedule, whatever works for you. But yeah, personally, I think doing it first thing in the morning, otherwise it's just, it might go by the wayside. Things happen.
I joke around. Then I have all day long to figure out why I shouldn't go to the gym. So I do it early in the morning too.
Do it in the morning and just make it part of your wake up routine, because then you'll be less likely to cut it out too.
Well, your days are a lot different too when you wake up, when you do it in the morning, because you definitely have that extra pep of energy.
Yes.
I agree. I feel so much better on those days. I really do.
Sure.
It sets me up for the day. Well,
Yeah.
is there anything else? Any other questions, Steve, that you might have for Jamie?
I'm sure I got a million of them.
Right? Well, I just wanted to have some final thoughts and final words of how grateful I am that you took the time out and spent some time with us tonight and really answered some questions. Went over some local history that I've been here for 17 years and I didn't know a lot of the stuff. And what's so fun is I didn't know you were a cheerleader. That's so wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful to sit down with somebody that you think that you know, and then you find out so much more wonderful things about them. And I also want to thank you again for bringing me in for those classes at Lyft and all the things that you do for this community. Whether I know how humble you are, and I just need you to know how appreciated you are in my life, and I'm sure in this community, especially those runners. And I watched you at the Salvation Army, so I really thank you, and thank you for taking the time and sharing your story tonight, Jamie. I really do.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Love
you're
you,
so
girl.
welcome. Love you too. Thank
Fun
you.
stuff.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
Steve.
we're out of here.
Night,
Okay.
girl.
Thanks,
Are we
Jamie.
done? All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll kick
done.
you off. You go tend
All
to
right.
the dog now.
I can hear the little pee.
Oh, is it my dog? Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sitting outside.
yeah.
I think it's the neighbor's dog.
I
All
never
right.
mind a dog.
All right. See you, Jamie.
See you,
See you later.
Jamie.
Bye.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, she's good.
God, it's so great to learn about our city too. You know, like the history of the Shamrock. I didn't know. Maybe you knew that.
I didn't know
stuff.
she was a Minnesotan.
I always.
You know what? I guess I should have asked. How did she find Appalachian State from Minnesota? That would have been a good question, because that's a unique journey amongst itself. To be honest,
Yeah.
not many people go from Minnesota to Appalachian.
Well,
to Boone, North Carolina.
She went to Carolina. Remember?
Yeah, Boone, North Carolina. Yeah,
But she went as a child. 'Cause
Oh,
her
okay.
mom is the one that really grew up in Minnesota. But
Right,
I've
right.
always focused on that because
and her
I love Minnesota.
and Jamie's mom lives a pretty decent life. I see her sailing in and out of the islands.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a
And I think she
great role
teaches-
model.
I think she teaches on her computer, and she is the living example of why you should exercise
Isn't she?
in her elder age. She
She's
moves fantastic. Yep.
She is fantastic.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Steve. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. So that was a great conversation with her.
Fun times. Any guests scheduled for next week, or we?
I do. Oh, I always am afraid I'm going to jinx it. So I don't. Just tune in next week. It's going to be great. I've got a great lineup of guests.
Surprise
coming.
guest for next week.
I just don't want to say it and then have somebody change his schedule or something. So it's always going to be a surprise, but it's always going to be a good one.
All right, guys. Enjoy your week. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.